So have you ever had a large, gorgeous plant that you want to make more of but are unsure of how to propagate it? Well, I want free plants, don't you? So follow these 6 steps to clone your plants and make as many as you want. I'm Gardener Koo, here with sleeping and absolute madhouse while awake Nacho, and let's make some more plants. So the first thing you want to do is prepare your cuttings for landing, i.e. get the pot ready. So you want to use a 3 or a 5 gallon pot depending on how long the cutting is. You want to rinse it out and maybe even hit it with some Lysol to lower the pathogen count. And then you're going to fill it with potting soil. Make sure to use a good potting soil with peat moss in it. You'll have much more success because of its moisture holding properties while also not drowning it. Be sure to water this pot well, then go off and collect your branches. So second, you want to cut a branch that has semi-hardwood, meaning last year's new growth, but not 2 years ago. So this isn't true for all shrubs and trees, but it is for most of them. If you want to be sure on the best way to propagate, I recommend the book A to Z, and that has specific propagation tips on each genus. For smaller plant propagation, like for petunias and coleus, impatiens, and begonias, check out my video on all the best propagation practices. So, for large plants and large branches, you really can't follow my rules from the first video because fitting them under the lights would just be unreasonable. And then getting a heating mat strong enough for a large pot is the realm of nurseries with, the kitted out greenhouses. So here we're going to do our best, but you're not going to have the same success rate as you would otherwise. So what this means is you want to propagate more branches to get the amount of plants you want. Time of year also really matters. In late spring and early summer, the plants just want to push out roots and leaves. All the sugars are just rushing up from the roots, so they are so much easier to propagate. Fall propagation is probably 50% as successful as spring and early summer, and winter it drops even more. Today I'm going to be propagating this beautiful begonia, Paul Hernandez. So Paulie likes good drainage, moderate to low water. He gets to 6 feet tall, but 4 foot in a pot, and he has these pretty pink and white flowers. He is a great plant for getting that, tropic effect. So check out my video on dry tropicals. So the next we're going to be propagating today is this Begonia Luxurians, also known as the palm leaf begonia. It likes part sun to part shade. I've planted it in full shade here, and that's why it's growing so oddly and across the path. Learn from my mistakes. It grows 6 to 8 feet tall, and it sends up new canes from a rhizome. It is a real oddity in the garden because it also is very narrow, growing only to about a foot wide. So you can really fit it in anywhere. Its shiny leaves and, unusual leaf shape also, like the one earlier, just scream tropics. So finally, I will also be taking a large cutting from Brugmansia Charles Grimaldi, also known as an angel trumpet. I just bought it from a nursery. So Charles has been a recurring love in my life who, always disappoints me, but I always come back for more. He gets these giant foot-long flowers that have the most magical and intense fragrance at night. The perfume, it saturates the air, and I truly cannot tell you how wonderful it is. This is the one you should grow in your own garden. Charles gets to about 12 feet tall, maybe half as wide. He likes rich soil and regular water. This has been where I failed so many times in the past. I would plant him straight into my clay without amending a large area around him. And by large, I mean like a 4 foot by 4 foot area. Also, I wasn't always great at watering until I got my drip set up, so sometimes he would croak from that. Either way, from now on, I will be constantly propagating this handsome man, and I will not let my love get away again. You can identify Charlie from all the other angel trumpets by looking at his leaves. He has a distinct tooth edge where all the other Brugmansias are rounded. Brugmansias in general just grow crazy fast, especially if you show them a lot of love in the form of water and fertilizer. I should warn you though that he is highly poisonous, like our relationship. So keep him away from toddlers and puppies. In my experience, dogs and cats will not eat poisonous plants after about 4 months of age. They seem to be able to smell it or something. Before that, puppies are constantly trying to kill themselves, so be careful. I've had many dogs in my garden over the years and a ton of very poisonous plants, and not one of them has ever eaten one. So like any other propagation, you want to make sure you have 2 nodes below the soil line. 3 is better. Then you want to have 1 or 2 nodes above the soil line. If you don't know what a node is, it's just the spot where the leaf are coming out or they had come out before. The third step is to strip the excess leaves of the stems going below the soil line. And then you want to cut the leaves that are above the soil line by 3/4. This will slow the loss of water through transpiration, and it'll also buy you time for the stems to, push out roots. If you've been finding this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any plant questions or nacho questions that I can answer. Next, it's over to sulfur for step number 4. Rooting hormone is a total scam. The only reason it works is because it has fungicide in it. So why not get this giant container for the same price without all those worthless hormones that work on maybe, 5, 10 plants? So you just want to dust the stem with sulfur, and you don't need to be perfect. You just want to try to get any spots where you got cuts, and importantly, where you cut the stem. So now your cutting is prepared. Stick a stake or this useless weeding tool in to create a path for the cutting. I recently got this garlic dibbler, that I've been using for cuttings, and it is amazing. So you just want to stick it in, creating that path, and then you want to stick the stem in and trying to get rid of any air gaps. Air gaps prevent root growth, so this is important. If you're using a potting soil with a wetting agent, air gaps are a lot less likely to happen. And then you want to water it again and off to its temporary new home. So for our final step number 6, you want to find a large shrub where you can put the cutting pot inside. And you want to put the inside in full shade. This provides protection from drying winds and sun, as well as adds humidity to help these cuttings make it. Here's one I made last year, and look at, it's already got leaves and doing great. So go make a giant cutting today and get some free plants. I'm Gardener Koo here with Nacho Tornado, and go get your hands dirty.